You click a little box that says, I'm not a robot. And that's it. The website just believes you. But think about what actually happened there. You didn't solve anything, you clicked. And a click is the one thing a robot can do perfectly. So, a single checkbox cannot possibly tell a human apart from a bot. And yet, somehow, it does. By the end of this video, you'll know why that box was never testing what you think it was, and why you've spent years quietly working a job you never applied for. Because you do this constantly. Pick out the traffic lights, click every crosswalk, type the blurry word, find all the buses, dozens of times a week, and it feels like a security guard patting you down at the door, just making sure you're a real person. But here's the crack in that story. Modern bots can already solve these image puzzles faster and more accurately than you can. A machine looks at the blurry traffic lights and nails it every time. So, if the computer passes the test easily, then what on earth is the test actually for? Stick with me because the real answer is a little unsettling, and it's been happening every single day to you. To see it, you have to go back to the beginning. CAPTCHA was invented for a completely honest reason. Stop bots. Show a human some warped, squiggly text that a computer couldn't read, and only a real person could type it back. Simple? It worked. But then someone had an idea that was either genius or slightly evil, depending on how you feel about free labor. What if that squiggly text wasn't random? What if it came from a real book? Here's the move. They'd show you two words. One the system already knew the answer to, the other scanned straight out of an old newspaper or book that computers couldn't read. You'd type both. The known word proved you were human, and your answer to the second word, the mystery one, got quietly banked. Do that across millions of people, and every unknown word gets solved by a crowd over and over until it's certain. You weren't just proving you were human. You were reading a page of a book for them, one word at a time. Millions of strangers, unknowingly, became an army, digitizing entire libraries and newspaper archives for free, and nobody told them. Then, two things happened. The old books ran out, and computers finally got good at reading text on their own. So, the puzzle changed. It stopped showing you words and started showing you pictures. First, it was house numbers, pulled straight from photos of real streets. Then, it was traffic lights, crosswalks, buses, bicycles, fire hydrants. And you have to ask why those exact things? Why is it always road stuff? Because that is precisely the list of objects a self driving car needs to recognize to not kill anyone. Every time you carefully boxed in a traffic light, you weren't proving you were human. You were labeling training data. You and billions of other people spent a decade teaching artificial intelligence how to see the world. Okay, but maybe you're thinking that's the old version. These days I just click the box. I don't solve anything anymore. And that, right there, is the creepiest upgrade of all. Because when you click that I'm not a robot box, the click is not the test. The moment your cursor starts drifting toward that checkbox, it's already reading you. The exact path your mouse takes, that slightly lazy, imperfect curve, the timing, the tiny hesitations, your cookies, your browsing history in that tab. Whether you move like a distracted person or like a script that snaps straight to the target in a perfect line. By the time your cursor actually lands on the box, it is mostly already decided. The puzzle with the traffic lights, that only pops up if it's still not sure about you, which brings us to the version you never even see. The newest CAPTCHA has no box and no puzzle at all, and it just runs silently in the background of a website and gives you a score from 0 to 1 on how human you seem based on everything you do while you're there. You will never get a pop up. You'll never click a thing. The site just quietly watches how you scroll, how you type, how you move, and decides. So the thing whose entire job is to prove you're a human being has quietly turned into something that studies your behavior across the web. So who is really being tested here, and what did they walk away with? Give me 20 seconds because this is where it all clicks together. Here's the whole trick, finally out in the open. CAPTCHA was always two jobs wearing a single mask. Job one, the one you can see, keep the bots out. And job two, the one you can't. Take the free labor of billions of humans and use it first to digitize the world's books and then to label the exact training data that taught modern AI to read our writing and recognize our world. You built the workforce, you just did it one traffic light at a time. And now, for the part that loops all the way back around. The AI that you train, it got so good that it can now beat the very puzzles you're asked to solve. Machines identify the crosswalks better than people do, which means the visible puzzle has quietly become theater. It barely stops a determined bot anymore. So the real test packed up and moved somewhere, a machine still struggles to fake your behavior. The messy, imperfect human way you move a mouse and hesitate and drift. That's the last thing a bot can't quite copy yet. So you didn't just prove you were human. You taught the machine to imitate one, and then you became the living example it gets measured against. The test was never, can you see a traffic light? It was always, do you move like a person? And your answers trained the exact thing it now stands guard against. So here's what was really going on every single time. Every I'm not a robot was a tiny unpaid shift. First, you were digitizing libraries, then, you were teaching cars to see. And now, you're feeding a quiet profile of how a real human behaves. It's not quite villainy. You got the free website, they got a workforce, a few billion people strong, nobody signed anything. But the next time those 9 little squares load in and ask you to find the traffic lights, you'll finally know the truth. You're not proving that you're human. You're the one teaching the machine what a human is.